Okay.
If you can just tell us who is Maria.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really, I'm honored to be here, and I'm actually privileged. I've had a chemical spill in my eye this morning, so my eye is watering a little bit. So if you see me rubbing it, it's because of that. Some copper hydroxide I mixed my own chemicals on the farm. So Maria is a young lady who's only 32. I came back to Zambia. I lived in Australia for 12 years and I studied nursing, and then I decided to move back. Many reasons, because of my dad, and also I just wanted a new life. I wanted to start life, at home and make a difference to my country. At that stage, I never planned to farm. I actually planned to come and look for a job. So I came and I started looking for a job, and I couldn't find a job. I was unemployed for about 6 months. I applied to the nursing council, I remember, and I never got any responses. I tried with different NGOs, and then one day my mom went on holiday and she decided to leave me on her farm. I thought it was I said to her, oh, who's going to go and get dirty? Not me. Anyway. I went on the farm and I found half a hectare of tomato. The rest was bush and one borehole. And I started. And fast forward to today, we are now on, I think, we were on 12 hectares, but I destroyed 2 last week. So I'm back to 10 hectares.
Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
when you came back, what year was it when you came back to Zambia?
I came back at the end of 2015.
And when did you start the farming?
2016 August.
So how was the transitioning from looking for a job and you see this land and then you just decide, let me farm? One challenge that I always hear from the Zambian startups is finances.
Yes.
So can you just tell us how that all fall into place?
Well, at the time, the tomato price was quite good. On half the hectare, we made quite a bit of money from that, so we saved that. Also, I was on a salary still from Australia, so I saved up, but it wasn't much. But I managed to just put it away and put it on the farm and live very basically whilst I was investing. So I took the money from that half a hectare and reinvested it back on the farm, and that's how we started.
So with farming, I've heard a lot of stories, like there's a lot of seed varieties, there's a lot of information that you need to have. You're coming from a medical background.
Yeah.
How has that been for you? I mean, did you invest in the wrong seed, for instance? Can you just share more information with regards to that?
It took quite a bit of time to learn. I'm still learning even now. There's a lot of mistakes that I made. That cost me quite a bit, especially my crops. And, with varieties, I think because my mom had already started the tomato, she put me in touch with the right people like Sunshine Seedlings who would advise what to plant when. Also, I made friends with the people at Syngenta, at MRI Seed, who I work very closely with. And they taught me quite a bit about tomato. I remember sitting, I think, for the whole morning just talking about tomato, and I seemed very overwhelmed about, about farming, about growing this tomato, because I thought it was easy. But then when I got into it, I thought, oh my goodness, you need to add a buffer to this and a sticker to that and X amount of grams. So it's a lot of maths involved. You have to measure accurately and make sure. So, even now, there are mistakes that I make.
So you mentioned earlier, obviously, you had an accident in the morning, the life of a farmer. You mix chemicals.
Yes.
Did you go to school for that?
No. I didn't go to school to mix chemicals, but I think my nursing background helps a little bit. I think I work very closely. I'm very guided by what I do with my agronomists. I've got 2 agronomists. I've got a fertilizer agronomist and also a chemical agronomist. So the chemical agronomist will come on the farm. He'll give me the formulas and has shown me how to mix the chemicals. And, basically that's it. You just have to, I guess with with farming, you just have to put your mind to it and you do it.
So this is a few months later. You've gone
Yeah.
into farming. You've left your medical career. Do you miss the medical?
I do and I don't. I do at the fact that my plants can't talk to me. So, you know, whereas people could talk to me, but I don't, in the sense that, you know, the shift work really got to me in the end. So I think farming is the way forward. But in terms of farming, I'm always up very early. There's no sleeping in, and there's no resting. We don't have holidays. There's nothing like that. So I do miss my career, and I don't.
So Maria, you're growing tomatoes on a 13-hectare, and then you said you destroyed 2.
Yes.
What else are you farming?
I farmed maize, which was on CNN. We did about 8 hectares of maize. I actually did it to save money for our cows. My mom has cows on the farm. And I did it so that we could feed our cows because they eat a lot. So we did it to feed the cows and also to feed the workers, because I've got some incentives for my workers there on the farm. I give them lunch every day for free. And so we did 8 hectares of maize. Also, I crop rotate. So if I've planted a field of tomato, depending on how the tomato has done, I'll go in and I'll put another crop in to clean the soil or to add nutrients back to the soil. So there's a field that I destroyed that had red spider, and I'm actually going to put in mustard to clean the soil. So all these are things that I take from different companies. There's certain companies that come on the farm, like Klein Karoo. They come and talk about sanitization of the farm and how you need to be clean. So even the workers know the protocols of us. When we start work, there's a certain way we do things. No one is allowed on the farm if you haven't been sprayed with spore kill. The fields are very clean. No one is just allowed to go from field to field. The ladies know that their chitenges need to be clean at all times. So I think that has helped us a lot with our production.
So how long? So when you started with you said, is it 2 hectares?
Half a hectare.
Half a hectare.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to the 13? And what prompted you? Did you already have the market?
Yes, the market is there. It's very much there. It's taken me up to now to get to 10 hectares. We've got a planting schedule where we plant every 4 weeks. So in the rainy season, we had a bit of a challenge in terms of maintaining our crops because it rained quite heavily and too frequently. It didn't rain. It didn't rain more than 5 millimeters, but we're getting too frequent. It could rain twice a day, 3 times a day. So we're using more chemical. I plant so every 4 weeks from the time that I started. But I'm learning that actually, if you plant less, you earn less. So you have to plant more to earn more. And the market is very much there. When our truck goes to Soweto, by 9 o'clock it's done. The demand for tomato, I mean, there were marketeers fighting on our farm yesterday over tomato. The quality is what matters. Anybody can grow tomato, but it's what your quality is. What is your quality? If you take my tomato and throw it on the ground, it won't split. Because of the quality fertilizers that I use, the quality chemicals that I use. So everything is measured accordingly. Everything, the tomato is timed appropriately. The tying is timed. So for me, I'm a person of discipline. I like to make sure that everything is done at the right time.
So Maria, a lot of people these days want to get into farming.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to someone like me who's a layman? I want to just get into farming. What are some of the things that I would need to consider?
I think what you need to consider is, do you have the passion for it? That's the first thing. Farming is not for everyone. It's very demanding. You're dealing with people who are not educated. So you have to go down to their level and see how they think. It's a lot of repetition, a lot of commitment. I work on a Sunday as well sometimes. Sometimes we work until 19, 20 hours. When we start planting tomato, if we're planting a hectare, we don't stop until we finish. So we plant until, it's dark. We plant under spotlight. Sometimes I visit my farm at 1 a.m. in the morning. My workers think I'm mad, but I do that to let them know that your boss is not sleeping, and I'm here to make sure that you're on irrigation. So everything, it's you can get into farming. I think it's just the commitment and also the finances. It's not cheap to farm. It's expensive. But if you manage your finances correctly and you have the passion to do it, I think it's very achievable. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
So what's your typical day like, and what time does it start?
Oh, I've got my cousin here from the gym who sees me every morning. My day starts at 4 a.m. in the morning. I wake up and I pray. I'm very prayerful. God has brought me this far, and I thank him for what he has done. We've spent 30 minutes. My mentor over there, Ingutu, she's my mentor. She's the one that has mentored me to be who I am until now. She has taught me how to meditate. So I go into meditation, and then I go to the gym. And from the gym, I take my daughter to school. If my daughter's not going to school, I get on the farm as early as possible. We start work at 6:30 in the morning. At 6:30, we have a meeting first with all the workers. We mark off a register, and then we spore kill everyone. When I say spore kill everyone, I mean we spray everyone, including me, with disinfectant. So I actually even spray my face and my hands. And then every field has a team. So there are different teams that are split up, and every team has a team leader. And we have meetings with the team leaders, and they all go out and they work. And I have a manager. I have actually 2 supervisors, and the supervisors will ensure that everything is done. But I am the farm manager. I am the one that ensures all the chemicals are done and everything works accordingly.
So could you share what your proudest moment has been since you started farming?
My proudest moment was today. Well, there have been many moments, but I think today I sat down and I said, wow, we've gone into partnership with the USAID, and we built a greenhouse today for seedlings. So I looked at it, and then CNN as well. I saw myself on CNN, and I was quite, I was quite humbled. Also, the minister came on our farm. In fact, the day they called me, I told them it's the wrong number. I said, no, that's the wrong number. Like, it can't be me. And they said, no, the minister wants to come to your farm. So I think there have been many moments, and just the timing. I haven't been farming for even a year. It hasn't even been a year. So I think it's just if you're passionate about something. I think with me, there are 3 things to getting to this stage. It's action. You have to act all the time. And when you do something, you do it well. Make sure you do it well. And it's consistency and focus and being disciplined, And I think that's what it's all about. So, yeah.
So with the partnership that you've gone into with USAID, is that a grant?
Yes.
And how easy are those to get?
They're not easy. We did it through Syngenta. I think we've got a very good relationship with Syngenta because they're the ones who supply all our chemicals. They're there. The grants are there. I think it's just how focused and how driven are you to get what you want. So I think there's a lot of information out there. We just need to be able to access the information.
And what has been your most challenging moment, and how did you overcome it?
Wow. My most challenging moment is when tomato price was 20 kwacha. I almost cried. I told 20? My mom, yes, it was 20 kwacha.
A box.
Yes, 20 a box.
Oh, wow.
And then my field had nematodes, so I wasn't producing as much, and the price was down. And I told my mom that I was going to quit and go back to Australia because this wasn't working. And she and my sister were just like, no, don't quit, keep on. And I remember one day we made 2,000 kwacha instead of 10,000 kwacha, instead of 20,000, instead of 40, like what I'm used to. So, I had to borrow money, and it was very hard. Entrepreneurship is not, farming is hard, and there are times when you the guys who mess up the crops. Last week they burnt one of my crops, and I had to do damage control on it. So dealing with workers is hard, and when you see your crops drying and and things like that happening, you start to I even sometimes actually get diarrhea when my crops are sick. Yeah, it's
but
true.
I'm sure. Well, the good thing is that you're a nurse, so you take care of yourself.
I think that's why even now I've got a bit of a cough because one of my crops is sick and it's been sick for a while, and I'm deciding whether to pull it out or keep it, and we're in between, and it's just it's hard. It's not easy, but you just have to keep focused and never give up. Never give up. Whatever you're doing, whether it's your job or what you're doing, just do it well and never give up. That's my advice. Yeah.
Because like I see you a lot on your Facebook page, and there's this one picture that I saw where I think one of your cows had given birth, and her hand was right in the cow's behind. I don't know what was going on there.
I love my mom's cows to bits. They've all got names, and they actually respond to their names. So they know me, that I'm the one that comes. Sometimes I bring them food and all this. And that day, the cow had given birth, and she was very weak. She was lying down, and she had lost a lot of blood and energy because the bull that she gave birth to was quite big. So her placenta hadn't fallen out, and we started in the morning about 6, and the placenta came out just a little bit, and I was giving it time. But then when it got to 3 o'clock, I started getting worried. So I made sure they tied the cow, and I just put on my gloves and took all her placenta out. I think I do it because I'm a nurse, but I inject the cows. I look after them. I'm basically their vet. I work under a vet, but I'm the one that injects them. I make sure that they're well and they're healthy. They're okay. I think it would be very hard for me to sell them or to kill them.
Are you likely to get into animal farming? Because you mentioned that that's your mom's area.
Yes, we're planning to do that. I'm actually looking at dairy at the moment, but it's very time consuming. I think I don't want to be a jack of all trades. I need to focus on one thing and do it well, and once I've mastered that, then I can get on to the next thing. So I like to focus, do whatever I'm doing well, learn, and then after that move. I can't just move. So dairy farming is what I want to do, but I went to learn. So if anyone is planning to go into entrepreneurship or farming, it's good for you to learn from other farmers. I learn. There's another mentor of mine, Crispin. He's very big. He's the biggest tomato farmer here in Lusaka. He's in Lusaka West. He's my mentor, and I go to him once a month to learn about tomato farming. I also went to my auntie. She does dairy for Parmalat, and I learned from her. So I'm still learning. I'm not a tomato guru. And even the dairy farming, I want to get into it. But when I went to learn, I found out the real deal about dairy farming, and I was like, okay, this one, Maria, you can't do tomato farming and dairy. It's impossible. You have to do one thing at a time.
Okay. So get your questions ready. We'll open it up to the audience after this question. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Wow. That's I want to make such a big impact in Zambia that I want people to go into farming, especially young people like me, because farming needs a lot of energy. So I want to make a huge impact. I also want to add some value addition to my tomato business. So maybe have an outgrower scheme, things like that. So I'm still thinking about it. I don't know exactly where I'll be in 5 years, but definitely I want to be. I look up to Buya Bamba. He's a very good friend of mine, and the owner of York Farm, John Henderson. They actually voted for me. I'm the ZNF chairperson for fruit and veg for banning imports.
Awesome.
So those are my very good friends, and I look to them and I think, oh my goodness, I'd love to be like them one day. Yeah.
Awesome. You're doing really well.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
So can we have questions from the audience, please?
Maria, I would like to find out, are you in any way partnering with other farmers, or are you planning to partner with anyone at the moment? Thank you.
Okay. I'd love to partner at the moment because I'm doing, there's a lot of projects going on the farm. I'm still growing. I will partner one day, but not just yet. I think I'm still I'm still small in farming. When I go to Crispin, I'm like, oh, Maria, you're playing. So, no. Yeah, so I will partner with people. Once we begin our outgrower scheme, I'll try and empower, especially women and young people. And also men. I'm not, yeah.
Hello, Maria.
Hello.
My name is Ken Bird.
Okay.
I want to say that you're very much an inspiration to a lot of people, not only here in Zambia, but I think all the people that have seen your activities on CNN. You want to specialize in tomato production. When I look around Lusaka, I see lots of tomatoes. I presume that you felt, or possibly through your mentor, that the market is so great that it can take a lot of tomatoes. I understand that you say that the difference that you provide is the quality, but I'm presuming that the market is really great, and so it can take more production of tomatoes. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Also, I'm not only talking about Lusaka. There's a lot of potential outside of Lusaka, especially towards the western side like Mongu and Livingston. There's some people who come from Livingston to buy my tomato. So, you know, there's a great market. It's big, and it's everywhere.
Hi, Maria. My name is John. I wanted to, you mentioned that you have credit facilities.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out, is it with the suppliers only, or does it include the banks as well?
No, I don't have any loan.
Okay,
None,
right.
zero.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm asking that, the challenge with the banks, I think, these guys, you find that you go there, they'll tell you that you need to be operating like for 3 years for you to access the funding. Then some of the suppliers, they will tell you that you need to have certain assets which you need to provide as security. So for someone who's starting out, you may probably just have a little capital, and it's very difficult for you to
Remember how I started? I started on half a hectare, and nobody gave me credit. And the banks, even just as of last week, came to offer me a loan, and I said no, because the interest rate is high. And what if you get to a stage where you're selling tomato at 20 kwacha a box? So I think my advice is start small. You don't have to start big. You can start start with 500 plants. You know, 500, that's 600 kwacha, to be exact. You know, start small. And when you start small and you're financially disciplined, you can reinvest and keep reinvesting until you grow bigger.
You're a mom of a young daughter. How do
Yes.
you balance the demands of a 6-year-old with the farm?
I try and incorporate my daughter into the farm. I've actually got a little deal with her that if she comes to harvest on the farm, she gets 100 kwacha a box. So she loves to rush to the farm. I also make time for her. I try and ensure that I'm home by 4 o'clock so that we can spend time together and do her homework and attend school functions and make sure that, you know, she's attending a party. Or so I try and balance, but it's very hard. It's very hard, especially when you have to be awake all the time at 6 a.m. on your farm.
Apart from the quality of, or let's say, how do you deal with competition? Apart from the quality of your fruits,
Yeah.
let's say there's another tomato farmer that's producing in masses, like the guy that you mentioned.
Crispin.
Crispin.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
I think it's your market. Your marketeers will know you for who you are. They'll know you. So there are certain people who come on our farm to buy, and they just buy from us. And the other thing is, Crispin might not always have tomato, and same goes for us. You know, we don't harvest. I know sometimes you harvest every day, but they're low and they're highs. So when your friend is in a low, you're in a high. It counters, and the market is there. Like it's there. There's a huge market for tomato. We want to build agri-tech centers for small-scale farmers where they take their produce to their agri-tech center, and those agri-tech centers are responsible for distributing the produce everywhere. Also, you know, certain things, because to produce a quality product, you need quality chemicals, you need quality fertilizers, which equals money. So, you know, in terms of grants and things like that, we're still working on it. Funny enough, the things that are coming into, the crops that are coming into our country, especially imports, are not that great quality. I don't know if you guys have seen the potatoes that are coming in. They're actually using Buyabamba packets and putting their produce inside there. You know, so, you know, in terms of that, I mean, we're working on it, and we're trying to get people to, it's hard. To produce a quality product, you need quite a bit of money. So we're still working on that. I think that's why I'm here in Zambia, to take away that whole mindset that a farmer needs to look dirty. No. My hands are dark, yes, you can see. I don't have fake nails or anything because I do get dirty. But yeah, some of the conversations I have with my friends, I actually don't have many friends. My best friend is my sister over there. And, you know, and Farai, who's sitting there, and she respects my farming real well. In terms of just, I'm there to change that mindset. Also, I focus on women because a woman, our culture here in Zambia is that a woman is of a lower standard. A woman should be submissive. A woman can't tell a man what to do. And I get that a lot on our farm, especially from the older men. So that's why I'm putting it out there that women. But I'm not saying that men shouldn't get into farming. They should, you know. And the perception is that a woman can't farm because, oh, a woman has a baby, so she can't farm. Like, I have got a 6-year-old. People ask me, how do you farm with a 6-year-old? And it's doable. So I'm trying to change that mindset, you know, with people to say that farming is only for men. You know, it's not. I drive a tractor, ask Ingotu. I can drive a tractor, and I can plow. I can mix chemicals, I can dig, I can do anything, even tie tomato. My workers know that. So I always try and change that mindset. So I think that's why I'm here in Zambia, to change it. I hope I've answered your question, have I?
How many workers do you have, by the way?
Today I had 45. But I've got 23 full-timers, and then the rest are casuals, and they come in and out of the farm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think just to add on, when you see Maria dirty, she looks clean.
I've always got sunscreen on and a hat and try and make sure, but my hands are always, today I was mixing fertilizer, my hands are always dirty. Actually, there's a few chemical companies that are actually making chemicals here in Zambia, like ETG. They have a fertilizer plant that they've just built in Leopards Hill, where they'll be making it. So it'll be a lot cheaper. Also, we're going to bring all those fertilizer companies on board and chemical companies to try and reduce the cost. It's also economies of scale. You find that because the rand is low, the chemicals that are coming in from South Africa will be a little bit cheaper as well. And there'll be subsidies. I can tell you that. There will be subsidies. They will. There'll come a time when there'll be subsidies for people to actually get their chemicals at a cheaper price. I think as long as the drive is there, they'll recognize you. Yep.
Agriculture is going to be booming in the next 3 years. So what's the advice to everybody out there before you go into farming? How extensively should you research into what plant or what vegetable you're going to do?
Okay, I decided to go into tomato for two things. The return on the profit was quite good, and then also my mom was growing tomatoes, so I think I had someone to guide me into what I was doing. I couldn't just go into it. So I think because it's what I found on the farm and I saw the returns on it, I decided to go into it. The second thing, sorry, my eye is really, yeah. The second thing is, if you want to go into farming, say you want to farm a certain crop, my advice is go and learn about it. Go to a farmer who grows potatoes, take for example. Walk a day with them. You know, I mentor Nicholas here, who I mentor quite closely. And he came on our farm and spent the whole day with me. He came at what time? 8? Yeah, he was there at 7 and he only left at 5. And he walked a day in my shoes. So if you want to grow potato, go to a potato farmer and go and see what they do. The same thing with me. I wanted to go into dairy. I walked a day in the dairy shoes, and then in the dairy shoes, and I was like, no, maybe this is too much work for me. And then you also need to do your market research. What crops are you going to grow that are in real high demand? I know that the Zambian diet needs tomato. Regardless, you have gravy, you cook meat, chicken, anything, you need tomato. So I did my market research. So if you're going to go into a crop, do your research and do your market research. Do the input costs and your profits, and when you're going into a loss like the way we did with the boxes being 20 kwacha, see how long you're going to be in a loss for, So investigate and do it thoroughly.
Agriculture is always cyclical. That 20 kwacha price will still come. Mm-hmm. Maybe next year, I don't know when exactly. How are you going to deal with that pricing? And also, secondly, I work with a lot of farmers, but I wanted to find out there's also this issue of having forward contracts with the chain stores, maybe the lodges, the hotels. It's very difficult for smallholder farmers to get such kind of contracts. Are there any obstacles that you faced? Maybe have you ever tried that route in that line to make sure that you have a secured market and you're producing for a market they're going to give you a better price in that regard?
I'll answer one question at a time. The first one is about the price. Something I learned last year was that I wasn't prepared for the price. I think when the price is that low, your numbers matter. So your production matters. So if you're going to have a hectare field, then you're on the safe side, because then you're producing about 200 to 400 boxes a day, which will cost you which will be about 8,000 kwacha, a day, which is okay. So it's all about the numbers. So for us on Tuzini, I think we've learned now that we don't plant less than a hectare of tomato. That's the first thing. In terms of the second question you asked with the chain stores, for us it was a bit hectic. I'm not saying that the chain stores are bad, but some chain stores want their tomato polished. They don't want any cracks in their tomato, and it started taking away from my staff. It started disturbing because that staff would have to be there and polish all the time. So I had a contract. And I had to abandon it because of the cost of, I put all my costs together, the cost of petrol, coming into town to deliver. Sometimes the tomato would finish in the 2 hours and they'd be ringing again. Oh, can we have some more? And then come back. So it was too much back and forth. And then when we compared the price of how much they were buying the tomato for and how much we were spending, we were actually at a loss. Whereas if we go to Soweto, it's cash on the day. And then again, I was a small-scale farmer. So in being a small-scale farmer and you supply a chain store, you have to wait for a month to be paid. And I couldn't wait for a month. I needed the money straight away. I'm being real, I needed the money straight away. Some of them took 2 months to pay. Sometimes invoices are missing, different things. I'm not saying that they're bad. It's good to secure a contract with a chain store. But I think you need to be very, very strict with your terms to say, I'm only going to deliver tomato once a day. this is the tomato that I'm going to deliver, and that's it. And people, I enjoyed supplying the chain stores, but I think we got to a stage where we're just like, no, we need the money now. So let's go to Soweto. And by 9 o'clock, we have our money. There's no conversation. We're done, and we go. Yeah.
Maybe Utu, you've just brought out something that, you know, like I saw in South Africa, they have regulated payments. They pay SMEs within 7 days because of the overhead costs that they incur.
Yeah.
Looking at the position you have, maybe those are some of the things you might want to consider, especially with the chain stores.
Yes, I'm actually in conversation with ShopRite right now about that in terms of payments of SMEs. And there's another lady who's representing the small-scale farmer as well. It's not easy to, you know, to action. I think it'll be quite, it'll be quite difficult because there's certain protocols that ShopRite has. Maria can't just come and change it. So we're going to actually write a letter to them. But what we're really pushing for is these agri-tech centers, because even the payment of small-scale farmers to through these agri-tech centers will be instant. It works like this. You bring your crops to the agri-tech center, you have a card, they count your boxes, you hand in your card, they load the money on, you go. And that's what we want to see at Soweto. We actually want to break down the whole of Soweto, and you know, there'll be certain agri-tech, there'll be a center for tomato, there'll be a center for onion, there'll be a center for for potatoes, for butternut, for everything. So every farmer will bring it there, they weigh it, you have your card, you put the money on your card, and done. So yeah, so even the chain stores are actually going to come and buy their produce from these agri-tech centers that we're building. So those are our ideas. I think at the moment the problem is that there's not a lot of young people in farming, and the older generation who are in farming don't seem to know or want to focus on Zambia. They don't think beyond the, the borders. Yeah, beyond the borders. So there is that potential, and we would like to partner with other organizations apart from government. Obviously, it's just finding them and finding the market. So those are things. You've actually given me some homework there. You have given me homework, and I promise you, I will get back to you, and I'll make sure that in the next NFU meeting, which I'm having on Monday, I'll make sure that that's something that's put out on the table. And let's see what I can. Let's see what we can do. I'll get back to you. I need your number.
2 weeks ago, I witnessed the signing ceremony between the Zambia Federation of Employers and the Pakistan Federation of Employers in Geneva regarding the importation of 2 million tons of soybeans from Zambia. Yeah, so there are all these opportunities that are there. I think it's just that we are not, maybe information is, we don't have access to plenty of information. Angola, if I'm not mistaken, Angola is importing eggs and chickens from Brazil. Yeah. So we, like Maria said, we have plenty of opportunities. I think Zambia is one of the countries that is actually food sufficient. So if only we can take advantage of countries around us in order for us to export a lot of our foods.
I know that Zambia Sugar export their sugar to Angola. I know that for sure. So we are exporting, and I think it's just the availability of information. It's not there, and I think if you want to do that and you want to export, you just have to do your research.
I think the challenge, like he mentioned, is access to information. It's good to know these things are happening, but we need to work on making information available as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your final words. Maria is still here, so after we wind down, we can still network and get to know each other. I think from the interview, one thing that's very clear, there's a lot of opportunity in Zambia, and I really hope 5 years from now we'll be discussing something different with the faces I'm seeing here. Yeah. So your last words, Maria.
If people want to go into farming, I challenge you this year, especially with the rain season coming up. We're going into the rain season starting in November. There's a lot of crops you can grow. You can grow onion, you can grow maize, you can grow soya beans, and it'll give you quite a great return. Now, I just want to put it out there to you, the maths. I'm not going to mention which farmer. There's a farmer that I know that grew 23 hectares of onion under center pivot, okay? He was going to sell the onion at 80 kwacha per pocket. He harvested 80,000 pockets. How much did he make? 6.4 million kwacha. That farmer has bought a Hilux. He went in to Toyota and bought a Hilux cash from the showroom. He built his house. He's got an 11-bedroom house, cash from China.
Does he have 10 kids?
He's got 20.
No.
And he's got 2 wives. Yeah, it's true. And when I first went on his farm, it starts off with a little 7 squatter. So I was asking my agronomist, I was like, are you serious? You brought me here. He says, Iwe, keep quiet. He drove me inside, and he's got this center pivot that he presses a button in his bedroom, and the center pivot goes. And he bought that cash, and he started off with a small hectare of tomato, living in a hut. He lived in a hut with an umbrella. It used to rain, and he says when it used to rain on them, and he started in Chongwe, and now he's a very, very big farmer. And if you looked at him, you'd never know. He's very humble. So what I'm saying to you guys is that if you want to go into farming and you want to go into entrepreneurship, do your research, number 1. 2, stay consistent, stay focused, work hard, make sure that you're financially disciplined in whatever you do. And start small. You don't have to start big. Start very small. And you'll see how, once you have those keys, I tell you, the world is your oyster.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been great having you, Maria.
Thank you so much.
that we've learnt a lot, haven't we? Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you, the audience. I think you've been amazing. Thank you so much
Yes.
for coming out and joining us. I'd also like to thank our sponsors once again, Impact Media, Zambian-owned company, Casa Portico for the lovely snacks and for hosting us, Africa Trust Academy. Sam, I don't know if you're still here for the amazing pictures. QTV. They'll be airing this. I'm sure they'll post it on their Facebook page. We can look out for when they'll air it, and we can watch it. So thank you so much for coming out. Looking forward to seeing you next month, and hoping you'll give us the farmer's number so we can have him next.